You're watching Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I am Will Scott. We got some rumors to discuss on today's show as we are almost a week away from 2023 NBA free agency, which is why you're going to want to turn on your notifications. It's the best way to stay in the loop with the Celtics. Got the draft on Thursday night. Going to get you guys a video when the Celtics make their pick, and then we'll look forward to free agency after that. Celtics could maybe make some trades before the 30th, but then once we get to the 30th, we are going to hear a lot about maybe who the Celtics are going to bring in. We'll have to wait and see. So be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications so you don't miss anything. One of the players that we have seen linked to Boston is Chris Paul. Before and after he was included in the Bradley Beal trade, Bill Simmons says the Celtics should trade Malcolm Brogdon for Chris Paul. Here is what Bill Simmons said. I think the Celtics are definitely moving a guard maybe this week, and I think they know they need to move a guard. And Brogdon and Chris Paul in a trade makes sense to me. Does it make sense to you? Do you think the Celtics should trade Malcolm Brogdon for Chris Paul? Type T for trade or type P for pass. Down in the comment section, go down, let me know. Should the Celtics move Malcolm Brogdon for Chris Paul? T for trade, P for pass. Chris Paul was involved in the Bradley Beal trade on Sunday that sent Beal from Phoenix to Washington, from Washington to Phoenix. Paul to Washington for now. However, that trade has not been finalized yet, because the Wizards could reroute CP3 as part of a three-team deal. And keep in mind, the Celtics were very close to landing Chris Paul in 2017 before he agreed to a sign-and-trade and went to the Houston Rockets. Bill Simmons also said this: I think Chris is chasing a ring, being the old guy who's been there in a bunch of different battles in a bunch of different ways, being a bleep adult, I think could really help this team. Not that they didn't have that in a lot of ways before, but there's something different about it. And then it gets them off the Brogdon deal, which a year from now, the Brown-Tatum contract combo is going to be a nightmare. Fundamentally, they cannot pay Brown and Tatum $100 million per year, and the three guards $50 million. You know it's just going to give them more leeway, so that's the case. Today's show is sponsored by NordVPN. Protect your digital world now and get 63% off their 2-year plan. NordVPN is striving to make the internet better than it is today. It can be free from online threats, censorship, and surveillance. Get your online security package now by visiting nordvpn.com/CelticsCS. Get 4 months for free by using that link in the description and comment section when you purchase the NordVPN 2-year plan. Let me tell you all about the features you're going to get with a NordVPN package. It's going to come with online protection with a single click. It is so important to stay safe online. You're not going to miss your favorite content because you can set your location to home even when you're traveling. Stay safe from malware, and plus, it is the fastest VPN on the planet. Just choose your location and hit connect. It is that simple. NordVPN won't track you or share what you do online. Your data is always protected by next-generation encryption. Get started now. Click the link in the description or comments. That's nordvpn.com/CelticsCS to get 4 months for free of NordVPN and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Talking about Chris Paul, this is very intriguing. The possibility of Chris Paul going to the Boston Celtics. I said this before the Bradley Beal trade, and I am going to continue to say this. The Celtics could certainly use a floor general. Chris Paul, he's going to want to go to a place where he can win his first ring. Boston is going to give him a great shot to do that. Taking a look at the numbers here for Chris Paul. Now, the numbers have gone down, but he is still a productive player. 13.9 points per game, 4.3 rebounds per game, 8.9 assists per game. 44% from the field, 37.5% from three-point range. We'll talk more about Paul in a second, but just a reminder that we are going to be live on our Chat Sports main channel for the 2023 NBA Draft. We're going live at 6 Eastern Time on Thursday night. You don't want to miss our coverage. We're going to have the best coverage here on YouTube. No commercial breaks. So if you're watching ESPN, you're dealing with a lot of commercial breaks, don't have to worry about that on Chat Sports. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. Go and subscribe to the channel for more coverage over there on the draft. Now, Bill Simmons says that they should trade Brogdon to get CP3. Taking a look at the numbers here for the sixth man of the year, 14.9 points per game, 3.7 assists per game, 48.4% from the field, 44.4% from three-point range. However, he was not as good in the playoffs. And then in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Miami Heat, he was a no-show, but at the same time, he was dealing with a forearm injury, so that's worth noting. Now, the Phoenix Suns, and this makes it pretty interesting when you're talking about maybe Chris Paul to Boston as part of this three-team deal. The Suns are rumored to have interest in Malcolm Brogdon. Jake Fisher said this before the Bradley Beal trade. Of the four Celtics guards, Brogdon's name has been mentioned the most among league executives this past week, although Phoenix has so far been the only team cited by several NBA voices as a suitor to have interest in the sixth man of the year. So Malcolm Brogdon, we were expecting him to be in some trade rumors, but we are certainly seeing that right now. Will Malcolm Brogdon be on the Celtics next season? Go down in the comments section, predict it. Type Y for yes or type N for no down in the comments. Will Brogdon be on the Celtics next season? I agree with Bill Simmons. I expect the Celtics to make some changes at the point guard position. So I do not expect Malcolm Brogdon to be back in Boston. I think they move him. I think Simmons made a good point when he said he's looking ahead to the Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, that contract situation for both of those players. Don't know if they're going to be able to afford Malcolm Brogdon this time next year. Might make some sense to trade him now. Maybe you move him to get a guy like Chris Paul, where you see how it goes with him next year. Try to get him a ring. Again, you need a floor general. You could use a guy like Chris Paul. As we welcome in producer Jeff Cooperstein. Coop, here is what the current trade looks like right now. The Suns getting Bradley Beal and Isaiah Todd. The Wizards receiving Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, 3 second-round picks, 2 pick swaps. If you were to get a third team involved here, let's say the Celtics, then what do you think this would look like?
Yeah, Boston would make the most sense. Obviously, I think you'd be rerouting Paul to Boston, and then maybe the Wizards get another pick or something like that. I don't think much changes outside of that. I think it would just be Chris Paul going to another team, and then it would be a salary filler like Malcolm Brogdon heading somewhere else, whether it be to Washington or to Phoenix. In this case, I think it would be Phoenix because they'd be looking for the more immediate help. So I'm not sure what extra picks would be involved, but there would definitely be something from the Celtics.
How would Phoenix make that work? Could they even afford a guy like Malcolm Brogdon right now?
They send out DeAndre Ayton.
That's true.
With the matching salary.
Maybe Ayton to Washington, but apparently the Wizards inquired about Ayton. They wanted DeAndre in that trade, and Phoenix wouldn't give him up. So that was a little bit surprising.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously things change like crazy in the NBA, so that could be possible as well. I know the Wizards want to extend or keep Kristaps Porzingis, so who knows what that means for DeAndre Ayton's future. But if it were to be Malcolm Brogdon to the Suns, you would see DeAndre Ayton either going to the Wizards or back to even the Celtics.
If you had to predict right now, do you think a third team gets in on this deal?
I do. I do.
Okay.
Is it the Celtics? I don't know, but I do think there will be a third team announced in this deal, whether it be one of the LA teams or the Celtics, maybe even a dark horse team that we haven't heard of yet.
Now, the Celtics right now, third in betting odds to land Chris Paul. I don't think we were expecting that when the Chris Paul news broke, maybe early last week, saying that he was going to get moved potentially. But here we are with maybe the Celtics going to emerge as the third team in this deal.
And it kind of surprises me because I don't strike the Celtics as a team that really needs Chris Paul. Any team can use Chris Paul and his services just because everywhere he's gone, he's changed the culture and he's won. Whether it's in OKC, whether it's in Houston, whether it's in LA with the Clippers, he's done wonders for every team that he's been on. So the Celtics do need that kind of guy. But unless you're moving away from Marcus Smart, do you really need that point guard that's going to play heavy minutes?
Right. Now, you bring up a good point there. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. If Chris Paul does get traded to Boston, we're going to have you guys covered. That was good stuff. Good stuff from you here. How long is that going to be roughly after the... Oh my God.